Good morning from Vilamoura. This is the 470 World Championships 2021. It's day 5 and we already had 9 races. We'll have 2 more races today and the final race tomorrow, the medal race only for the top 10. We have today with us Mr. Luís Rocha. He is he works for the federation. He was a 470 coach since the 1992. A lot of experience. Thank you for joining us today, Luís.
Hello, Pedro. It's a big pleasure to be with you and to be with everyone that is watching us. This day just is the previous day before the medal race in the World Championship.
Yes, Luís, and we have a lot in stake today. We have not only the fight for the gold medal in these World Championships, but we also have Olympic qualification for some countries. They haven't qualified yet, and also in between some teams that are already qualified, who is going to represent those countries. So just to give you a little heads up, Portugal is actually leading this qualification for the last available slot. They have a big gap to the Swiss, 51 points lead over the Swiss. Also the Hungarians 2 points behind the Swiss. It will be a fight. I had a little chat with Pedro today and I would like to ask your opinion. But the Portuguese 2nd overall, Swiss are 8th overall, big gap. I asked Pedro, are you now focused to try and win the championship, or are you still planning to do your tactics, worried about the Olympic qualification? And he told me that he wants to be conservative. He wants to make sure he qualifies first. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it's a great championship, because it's just not only it's playing, we are playing for the world title, but also it's a qualification for the Olympics, the last spot for the Europeans. But it's also a championship that can show to the world the worldwide class that is the 470, because we have the men, we have the women, and we have also the mixed. So it's a great regatta. About the two points that are in game, that is the world title and also the qualification for the European spot. We can say that the Pedro and the Diogo, the Portuguese guys, they should not be focused to get a medal. They should not be focused to qualify. They have to be focused to do the best in each of the regattas. If they play well, if they are not conservative, but if they have a good evaluation of the field and they have the first big good options, the final results just depend of the options they do and the tactics they do. And if they are too much focus on the result, they can lose the focus on the present, and the present is the actions they are doing for the moment, and each moment is the more important moment. It's not to be focused on the result, but focus on the start, focus on the first stack, focus to get the first shift, and that is the most important. Then
that's right,
comes the result.
And then also we have an interesting fight here between the 2 Greek teams. They are 7 and 8 overall at the moment. Mantis, Panagiotis and Pavlos, and then Vasilis and Ioannis, they are just one place apart. The Greeks, Panagiotis and Pavlos on 73 points and Vasilis and Ioannis on 79. So 6 points separates. We will see them fighting each other, probably more than the regatta, because it's only 3 more races to go. We also have other teams fighting internally, like the Great Britain team, and we will go also to the other fleet, the women fleet. We're gonna go through those fights, those individual fights in a minute, but we will see these Greeks probably looking at each other. What do you think?
Yes, a lot of things are playing in this regatta. So we have internal qualification for the Olympics in many countries, like the Greeks. We have also the British, we have the Italians. So the women. So it's it will be a very interesting day today because a lot of things are in play. Sailors were working a lot for these years, many hours, many expectations, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of work, and now in 2 regattas, everything will come to a end. But the result is not important. In life, in sports, the process is the most important. You must evaluate the process and not just to be focused on the result.
That's right.
The process is the thing that can make you grow. And life and the sport is about growing up. It's about building new things in our lives, and that's why the process is the most important.
Luis is a very experienced coach and sailor. We used to sail against each other on the 420, and then Luis decided to go on his coaching career. He was my coach on the 470s back in '93. We will go back to that in a minute and tell you a few funny stories. But a lot of experience. Luis was part of the Portuguese Olympic team for Atlanta '96, and I lost the trials to his brother Hugo, and Nuno Barreto and Luis. A very successful campaign for '96, ending up on a bronze medal. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How was it to work with your brother for these Olympics?
It was great years for the Portuguese Sailing Federation, for Portugal, the '90s. Yes, I remember that we were sailing together against in the 420s, and you were quite talented, more than me. And also I was racing also the national championship and world championships in 420s with Hugo, against Hugo, my brother, and he was also beating me. So I decided that I was not so talented as a sailor. I was not bad at all, but
that is not true.
The other guys were better than me. So I get in university to study sports. Then I decide, well, I think it's a good idea to improve and to direct my studies to be a coach.
And it was a beautiful career because you followed the Portuguese team for '96 and 2000, and then you moved to Italy. Was it after Athens or before Athens?
No, it was later on.
Later on.
I was in 1992 in Barcelona as a coach. 1996 with Hugo and Nuno, they got the bronze medal. It was a very interesting experience. And then we can talk also a little bit more about that, the years before. Then in 2000 Sydney, I was coaching Álvaro and Miguel Nunes.
And they finished 5th, I believe.
They finished 5th place. It was a great regatta. They was leading till the middle of the championship. So also today we have Costas that are doing very well, but there are 2 races to go today. And also the medal race tomorrow. A lot of points are in game, so people must be focused on each moment, because if you have too much focus on the result, you get the focus on the moment. So that was then in Athens I was the team leader. In Beijing I was the team leader also for the Portuguese. And then in London I was also coaching Gustavo Lima in laser. Then in 2013 I moved to Italy. Then I was 4 years in Italy, coaching also the Olympic team in the 470s. It was a very beautiful experience. It's like my second country. I was also today with all the teams here. It's a big pleasure. It's a happiness to be with them again.
These are beautiful images here of the boats getting ready for the race. They are already outside testing their boats and checking the race course. We are going to go now very quickly through the result lists, and for the men's fleet we can see the leaderboard. Sorry, this is the women's fleet. We go through that first, but we can see here the Spanish with a good lead at the moment over the Dutch team, Aphrodite and Lopka. They had a good day yesterday. They got closer to the Spanish. The French lost a little bit yesterday and dropped to 4th, now on 64 points behind Elena and Bianca, who won the race number 8. Here for for the women's fleet, we have a fight further down the...
Elena.
Oh, Luis is going to be
I
fantastic.
was coaching Elena, so that's why.
You
No,
coached Elena. But they did a really good job. I saw they really like starting at the pin. And they managed to win that race, starting at the pin, going left. We'll go back to that in a second. I just want to tell you a little bit about this Olympic qualification for the women. We have the Turkish team fighting with the Russians and the Ukrainians. The Turkish at the moment, they are ahead of Russia and Ukraine, but and very tight, so we will follow a little bit of that during the day. Here for the fight in the front, we have 4 boats within distance, so we will also see a big fight here for the title. These countries, there is an internal qualification between the Italians, Benedetta and Alessandra a little bit further behind Elena and Bianca, but everything can happen, right, Luis? We never know.
No, they are two great teams. Benedetta Di Sale, she was a world champion in 420, has a crew and also has a helm, so she's a great sailor, younger than Elena, but everything is open. They are 2 great teams and they already did beautiful things in the past years, and they will fight till the end, till the last moment. I know very well Benny. She's always fighting.
And they did well they won one of the races. They were not that consistent, but if they find the consistency, they could challenge Elena.
I do agree.
For sure. Let's go now for the results on the man. We spoke a little bit about it before. We have a very close fight between the Swedes and the Portuguese. They are focused on their Olympic qualification. And then a little bit further back we have the Spanish team, Jordi and Nicolas. They are ranked number 1 at the moment. They overtook the Russians yesterday. And then we have also the Italians on 5th place. So a lot of internal fights here. Also fights for the medals. We have so much to talk about today, Luis.
Yeah, it will be a beautiful day. A lot of expectations, a lot of tension.
We'll have a lot of people with calculators trying to figure out the points, who is going for the Olympics, who is fighting for the medals. Now we have also the mixed teams. This is not yet an Olympic discipline. It will be for 2024. We will not have a man or a women fleet. We will only have a mixed fleet, and these teams, most of them are quite young, starting their Olympic campaigns. But we will see most of the experienced sailors from men or women teaming up for the 2024 Olympics, right?
Yep. Just after this regatta, this world, a lot of teams that will lose the qualification, they will start immediately working as a mixed team. So we will see a lot of teams that are moving just after the day after, working very hard, and the next Europeans, a lot of teams that are now as a men or women will be mixed in the next Europeans that will be placed in Vilamoura in May.
In May, that's right. So this is very fresh news. Vilamoura doing such a great job on these big events and getting more and more events to be held here. We will have the Europeans in May for the 470 class as well. So some of these teams actually, as you said, might do the swap straight after this regatta.
That's correct.
We have now some images on the race course. We can see now the sailors are probably already did their warm-up and they are now checking the race course, looking around to see the conditions, to see the wind shifts, to see where there's more pressure on the race course. There's a lot of preparation on this pre-start. I believe that each team has a routine before the start, what they want to do, how they want to prepare themselves, and they try to follow that routine to keep their focus?
Yes, the routine, each one has their own routine, but at the end, everyone wants the same. To understand what is the best side, to understand when will be the first shift, and to be on the right moment to get the first shift. Also,
Right.
the coaches has an important role on this moment, because the coaches are also collecting data that must be passed to the sailors, and the briefing just before the start, to have all that data and to have the right conclusions of that data to make the right decisions.
I have here some information that the wind's a little bit unstable at the moment. We will have an AP flag that means a postponement. Little delay on this race. Our race officer decided to move a little bit to the west. They're going to reset the course, make sure that the fleet will sail in the best race courses possible to give the sailors a fair race. It's very hard for the race officers sometimes to do all this work. They really do a good job here in Vilamoura. We have already 9 races after only 4 days, and we for sure we will have another great day here in Vilamoura.
The race officers, they are the person that can make possible the sailors to play the game. So they are very key. They are very important to have a very experienced race officers. We have Nino Samueli, that is well known by everyone, and is making this job perfectly. And we have Miguel Amaral, that is the race officer, that is a Portuguese, a very young race officer that is doing a great career, and he has he's doing a lot of regattas in Vilamoura, always with Nino, so he's getting a lot of experience and will be one of the best race officers in the world in the next years, Miguel Amaral.
Yes, and also joining them in the race committee boat is Penar, who from Israel. Sorry, from Turkey. I'm sorry, my mistake. But Penar will be the race officer for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, and she's here to prepare also for that. They've been working together very hard. They are doing a great job. 9 races so far. Today, different conditions from yesterday. Yesterday we had the wind from 200. Luis knows this race course very well. You know, with 200, more stable wind, sometimes a little bit more pressure on the left, sometimes a little bend to the right with the sun. Today, the wind coming from the north, a little bit more unstable. They have to play the shifts. They have to see the gusts. There's areas with more wind and less wind. Very important to keep the eyes off the boat in conditions like today.
You are right, Pedro. I know well the field, but you know even better because you're doing a lot of races with the Dragons in this Vilamoura area. And yes, yesterday having a good speed, it's very, very important. Today, of course, the speed is always important because it's the key point in any boat in sailing. First, to have a fast boat. Without a fast boat, you never can be smarter in tactics. So today with the north wind, the being fast, of course, is always important, but less than yesterday. So a boat that plays well, also not being the faster, can win the races.
That's right. So Vilamoura offering this diversity of sailing conditions that will help to find the more complete team in different conditions. Consistency is key. To be fast in stable conditions like yesterday and sharp in the shifty conditions like today. We looking forward to see this racing. We have a postponement. The race officer is getting the race course ready, and we will give you some updates on that very shortly. We can see here the teams using this delay to keep trying the equipment, to decide what kind of setup. The 470 is such a technical boat. Lot of things to play in the settings in the 470, Luis.
Yes, it's a very technical boat. A lot of things to play. And also the teamwork, it's very important to keep the balance of the boat, the perfect balance of the boat, and the setup of the boat. So you can see here the jib, the leech of the jib, it's very important.
And you can, the 470 has the system to get the jib a little bit fuller or with a little bit more twist. If you change the barber back, the jib will get flatter, will open the leech. Or if you get the barber a little bit forward and down, you'll get a more full jib with the less twist, the leech a little bit closer to the mainsail. And depending on the sailing conditions, if the water is flat or a bit more choppy, or if it's gusty, they will adjust the best they can to the conditions.
Completely right, Pedro. And also, if there is a pumping conditions, also you can play a lot, because you have to change the setup of the sails if you are pumping, because you are moving so much, and that's very key point.
And tell me, Luis, a little bit about this Oscar flag. When did this rule was introduced to the class? Because in '93, when I used to sail the 470, we didn't have this rule. When did they start? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
It was after '96.
After '96.
'96 that starts the.
It's a long time ago. It was just after I finished.
A long time ago. And the change, it was a lot of the person that was pushing hard to change this and to have the Oscar flag was Viktor Kovalenko. That is, everyone knows him.
The medal maker.
The medal maker.
He was known by the medal maker.
Yes, but more than a great coach, he's a great guy, a great person, a very good friend. And also all the sailors that he was coaching, they are very good persons. They are people very correct on the water, correct in land, very nice people. So Victor was one of the persons that was pushing very hard to change this rule, because he was always pushing sailing to be more close to other sports. In
more
other
physical.
sports, more physical, more training, more complete sport, and Victor was always pushing for that.
Yeah.
He was also saying that it's not fair in sailing. If you are pushing hard, you are penalized. But in running, if you are running harder, you win. So why not to be also open in sailing?
That's a very good point, Luis. Very good point. And a question for you, because you know so well the 470. Let's say that our conditions are a little bit on the crossover for the race officer to choose between Oscar or no Oscar. Does with those conditions, which are around 8 knots of wind, I believe, the decision of an Oscar flag for the committee boat, does that change the right settings for the boat? Does the sailors, do they use a different setting if there is an Oscar or if there is no Oscar? Like
yes, they change
maybe a straighter mast, and like we said with the jib, a little bit further forward with the barber to make a more powerful sail. So when they pump, is there a difference?
There is difference, of course, because if you are pumping very hard, they are the crew that are doing the biggest job upwind. If you don't change the setup of the spreaders, the mast just bend too much, and bending the mast too much, you are losing the power. You cannot lose the power. You must keep the power on the boat, on the sails.
So we can see how hard it is to choose the right settings, to tweak the boat for the conditions, but also if the Oscar is up or not.
That's correct.
That's beautiful. All this information gives shows the spectators, shows the followers of this 470 class how technical it is, how hard it is to make the right choices, because we have to combine this. And in the meantime, they are not only setting up the boat, they also need to evaluate the race course. It's so much that they need, so they have to be really focused. And like you said, each team has the routine, but during that routine, they have to make the decisions.
Yes. At the end, you have to collect all the data and to decide. But it's very important to keep the decisions till the last moment, because sailing is a dynamic sport. Everything is changing all time. So all time you must be able to understand what is going on and to change also your strategy. Not keeping not close your strategy for the data that you collect just 10 minutes ago, but be open mind to change your strategy following the data that in each moment you are collecting.
We can see here the race committee boats already moored, already on station. Miguel Amaral looking around to decide which will be the axis. We have here 335 on the board, 0.6 nautical miles. We will have the men starting first. That's Penar on that left-hand side of the boat. The AP is up. I have the information that we will have an orange flag coming up in 2 or 3 minutes. Right now they have different readings on the race course from 320 to 340, 7 to 11 knots. And again, we have sunny skies in Vilamoura.
We have beautiful weather, like always, almost always in Vilamoura. Vilamoura, it's a magical place also for a lot of sailors in the world. I do remember very well in 1997 that we start to work very hard with the 470s in Vilamoura, and we get a very interesting group of sailors working very hard in the winter of January, February 1997 that we start to work about five months a year in Vilamoura. On that moment it was Hugo Rocha and Nuno Barreto, Álvaro Marinho, Miguel Nunes, the two Portuguese teams on that moment. And we also working very hard with more teams. Philippe Gildas with Cariou Tanguy.
And they are now coaching?
They are now coaches.
But Tanguy is coaching as well. I haven't seen Tanguy around, but I think Philippe Gildas is coaching the French team.
The French team is managing the French team.
And you have a very nice story from Tanguy, I believe.
Yes. On that moment, when Tanguy, on that years, that Tanguy was also here, once Tanguy told me, "Oh, Luis, now I'm going to run about 10 minutes. I will be back for dinner." Then we start dinner, no Tanguy. Then 9 p.m. no Tanguy. And Tanguy was running about 2 hours because he was running with dogs behind him.
So he was so he was running away from a pack of dogs.
Running away from dogs. So from 10 minutes of running, he was running about 2 hours. Then but he didn't lost the dinner. So on that moment it was beautiful because it was the two Portuguese teams, it was the two French teams, it was Philippe Gildas and Tanguy, Cariou. It was also working
with the Greeks, right? I believe, right?
Yeah, Petit Benoit. He was also
Petit Benoit.
Yes. It was Jon Molund also.
I remember
on that moment. So it was
from Sweden,
a Swedish team. So it was the French, the Portuguese, and the Swedish working very hard in 1997, 1998. It was the golden years also for the Portuguese and also for the French, because in 1997 and 1998 we Portuguese and French we won 2 world titles and 2 European titles.
That was amazing. And
it
I
was
believe
amazing.
At some stage on the world ranking list we had the Portuguese first and second sometimes.
Yes, it was Hugo first, Álvaro second, and sometimes opposite, and also Philippe Gildas and Petit Benoit. It was beautiful years because Hugo won the Europeans in 1997, 1998, and Philippe Gildas won the Worlds in 1998, and Petit Benoit in 1997.
That's amazing.
It was beautiful, beautiful.
Here we go, we have the orange flag coming up. That's 10 minutes for the start for the men. Conditions now, our race officer believes we have the right conditions for the start. In 5 minutes, in 4 minutes, we will see that AP flag go down, and then 1 minute later the warning signal, and then the U flag 4 minutes before the start. Yeah, we have so many stories, Luis, about those times. Also the Greek, they are here coaching some teams. We have Andreas Kosmatopoulos. He is in charge of, has some role in the Greek Federation for the moment. He's an advisor. And we have also Kostas Trigonis coaching the Swedish women team. And I've seen Pascalides as well around. We also have so many big names here coaching the 470 class, such as Morgan. He was silver medal in
1992,
92.
Barcelona.
That's right. Amazing. So many experience in this fleet, not only on the boats but also on the coach boats.
Yes, the 470 is more than a class. 470 is a family, and we have beautiful stories from any generation has beautiful stories, but it's like a family. I can remember well in 1996 in the Worlds, that was in Porto Alegre, Brazil, that half fleet was living in the same house.
Really?
Yes, Holly, it's a very good Brazilian, a very good sailor, a Brazilian friend. He just invited half of the fleet to live on his house.
That's amazing.
During the Worlds. It was a beautiful.
And we can see the mood on the boat park. Everybody smiling, everybody talking to each other. It's a great class. We can see everybody very friendly.
Yes, more than a class is a family. As I said, we have beautiful stories. On that Worlds in Brazil, just after the Worlds, can you imagine, Pedro? Half of the fleet changed the tickets and didn't come back to Europe.
They just
stay
stayed
in Brazil
there.
for more 15 days because Oli invite everyone to go to Florianopolis, to his other house, and we spend there 15 days more. All the half of the fleet having the carnival. Also, from that period, Jon Nystrom from Sweden, he just found the beautiful Brazilian girls and he got married. He got married. He has a beautiful family.
So many stories. I remember the first time that I sailed internationally in the 470 class was for the Junior Worlds in Marina de Carrara, and I said to Luis, "Can you please come and give me a hand? We will go to Italy. We will have a great time."
It was beautiful, Pedro.
You never forget something.
I will
about
never
this,
forget.
Right?
You just invite me to go with you to Marina di Carrara to the Junior Worlds in 1993, I think. Then it was a big pleasure for me. We were driving till Marina di Carrara. Then
This
when we
Peugeot.
arrived, I said, "Okay, Pedro, where is the hotel?" And you said, "The hotel is a boat that is inland." So we spent there 15 days all together. You and Frederico. It was
And another Portuguese team.
And another
remember?
team.
Tiago.
Tiago.
And yes, we had a great time. It
And you
was
had no idea what
unbelievable.
was your level. At the end, you just finished second.
That was fantastic.
That was amazing.
Yes, actually there was an Italian team winning. Do you remember?
I remember.
You remember him? I'm just trying to remember his name. I can't
Bonifacio?
remember. Bonifacio. Alessandro Bonifacio. That's right. And it was. Here we go. We have another gun that is the Oscar flag, and the AP just came down, so that's 6 minutes to the start. We're gonna start focusing here on the racing now, and we have so many things to talk about, but we need to focus on the racing.
Now we'll be focused on the racing. Then we have a beautiful story from Hugo and Álvaro in Medemblik. I will tell you later.
I'm not sure we can tell stories like that, but definitely there are a lot of stories.
But we will let the stories later, and now we will be focused on the race.
Race number 10. We have the main fleet here. Leading the race is the overall scores are the Swedish team, Anton and Frederick. They are on 30 points. They are followed by the Portuguese, Portugal 21, Diogo and Pedro Costa on 33 points. 3 points only behind the Swedes. Then 10 points further back we have the Spanish team, ranked number 1 in the worlds, Jordi Chamar and Nicolas Rodriguez. Following them we have also the Russians, Pavel and Denis on 49 points. And then the Italians, Giacomo and Giulio on 62 points. Did you coach Giacomo and Giulio as well, or are they a younger team?
No, I work with them also. When I was in Italy, they just were starting in 2014. End of 13, they started the 470s. They are great sailors. They are fit guys. They are working so hard. and they are improving a lot, and they are one of the best teams in the world right now.
Here we go for 4 minutes, 4-minute gun. We can see here the starting line, the race committee boat on the left side of your screen, then further away from our camera, a little bit to the right hand side of the screen, we can see behind those sails, little flag there, that's the pin end, and the start is between these two orange flags. From here it's a little bit hard to tell if there's a bias on the committee or on the pin, but the sailors, I think with conditions like this, they will probably be thinking more about the side of the course more than the bias in the line, because it's important with shifty conditions to be on the right tack of the start, you know, to hit the first gust, first pressure, or not to hit an area with less winds. And try to hit that first shift and take the lead in this race.
Yeah, completely right, Pedro. They must be with open eyes, watching and watching and watching. That is the most important. With these shifty conditions, you must be watching till the last 30 seconds, and
Here
you
we
must
have the
be
shot.
on the right point to get the first shift, and to be on the first shift.
Well, from the pin end, we can see a little bit better. I have the feeling that could be a little bias in the committee side. We have the Portuguese here checking the pin end, checking how you can see, I believe it's Diogo there standing, trying to find where is the best pressure on the race course.
We had the team some years ago, someone that is not more with us, was John Merricks, that was sailing together with Ian Walker in the 470s. They were amazing. They were always standing on the boat, watching and watching and watching till the last 30 seconds to make the last decision, and to be on the right moment to get the pressure, to be the first boat getting the pressure and getting the shift.
I did have the pleasure to sail against John and Jan in some events. I remember in Bostad, the European Championships, I believe was
Sweden.
94.
Yes,
Something
Bostad,
like that.
Sweden, yeah.
John Merricks and Jan Walker, they were quite crazy, those two. It was fun to watch. They were always on a good mood. They was always partying, and still they could be so competitive.
Yes, they were living and enjoying
Living
every
life.
moment.
That's
every
right.
moment that sailing was giving them.
At that stage, one of the strong teams as well was Jordi Calafat. I remember, I think
Kiko Sanchez also.
and Kiko Sanchez. That's right. They won the gold medal in Barcelona.
That's correct.
Here we go. Last minute coming. It's 1 minute for the start.
This is a key point. Now it's 1 minute to go. No one can pass the starting line. That is the line between this orange flag start and the orange flag on the other side.
And it looks like the fleet is quite spread over the line, Luis.
So
it could be an even
probably
start.
it's a neutral line.
Most important here is to find the right side of the course on this upwind.
And to be free to go. That is very important. To be free, to go fast, and to get
the
speed.
clear air. If you hit the line at the gun, you will have clear air, and that will be such a big advantage.
Yes, Pedro. Now clear air is the more important. A lot of things are being in game.
We saw that the French were going fast to the start. They pushed their
5
boom to
seconds to
stop
go.
the boat, slow down.
3, 2, 1.
And here we go. It's start for race
Clear
10.
start. Clear start.
Russians look like they have a good start there in the middle, Luis.
Was a great start.
We can see
Giacomo
it from the left.
Ferrari, can see how
Physical, huh? It's very
they
physical.
are amazing. Both of them. It's not just the crew. Look,
Both helm and crew. Look at that. They
Giulio
really
Calabro is
pushing.
like an animal. Look him. Great guy, great sailor.
We see the Portuguese there. They are a little bit squeezed between.
Yes,
Germany
the Portuguese, they
13.
try not to risk, not making any risks. They start a little bit late.
To windward of the Swiss. This is the fight for the Olympic qualification. We see Swiss 46 there. To leeward of Portugal 21. They will be pushing really hard here. It's like a sprint at the start to try and find that position in front of the fleet. The Germans dropping a little bit of speed there. The Portuguese managing very nicely to hold their lane.
They are pumping so much. The Pedro, the crew of the Portuguese, look how he's going. He was very back on the start, but he's going and going and going. But
He's
it was
very
amazing
strong.
start of Giulio Calabro and Giacomo Ferrari. Look at them. Italy 757.
Not many teams have tagged here from the left-hand side of the start. That's probably still a little bit right-hand shift. They will be waiting for a left-hander to put a tag and get across the fleet. Or maybe they see some extra pressure on the left side and they will try and go get that. We can see the Spanish in the middle of the line on starboard. They had a good
As you
start.
can see, Pedro on the right side, it looks to be not so much pressure.
A little lighter, but you see that boat there, I think on starboard they have a good
Very good
right-hander.
cross. Yes.
It's hard to see to read the numbers from here. I believe the boats in the middle of the course now have a little edge over the rest of the fleet.
If you have a gain, you have to cross. You cannot lose opportunities with these shifty winds. If you have an opportunity, just cross and be fast because it will shifty. So we must be fast on the good shift.
And the majority of the fleet is on starboard tack, so this must be a right-hand shift at the moment. Once the wind start bending to the left, we will see the boat starting to tack. Get a better angle to the top mark. Here's Sean and August Dale from USA, a little bit exposed on the right-hand side, especially with the right-hand shift. With the right-hand shift, you want to be furthest left boat in a good position, waiting for that left-hand shift.
As you can see now, the Hungarians are in a very good position. They don't have to point. On this moment, they just have to go very fast to arrive faster to the left side to catch
The next shift.
The next shift, yeah. As you can see now, the wind looks to be more to the right side. That's why the guys from the left are not tacking. So Pedro and Diogo Costa are not in a very good position for the moment, but a lot of to go. Devem ter virado.
I believe that the Swiss, they put a tack to the right. Maybe they couldn't hold the lane here to the Austrians. They had to clear their wind. They tacked to the right. We want to keep an eye on that. I haven't seen the Swedish yet. The Portuguese here struggling a little bit to lower of this fleet. It's a right-hand shift. They will have to work hard to get out of this position. Meanwhile, the Italians, 757, looking really good. If the wind goes left, they will be in a very strong position. But meanwhile, the boats on the right looks like they have a little bit more pressure, a little bit higher angle on starboard.
Yes, the first shift after the start was to the right side. So people that start on the committee and play a little bit on the right side at the beginning of the race, they are just leading.
You can see here the Spanish there to the windward of
And the wind is dropping on the left side, as you can see,
Probably
Pedro.
they have less breeze, Luis.
Yes, the wind is dropping on the left side.
But the boat to windward of the Spanish, they are going forward. That's the Russians. They must be on a nice puff. There's the Swedes. We can see the Swedes, the Swedish flag. They're to windward of the Spanish, they're to windward of this pack. I believe they're looking in a good position. It's a different race from yesterday. It's a more shifty conditions, more opportunities to win, but also to lose ground on the fleet. We will be seeing a more spread fleet than yesterday. Yesterday was very compact, but today with these conditions,
Yes, Pedro,
easier
because
to
yesterday
see
was a more
distances.
stable condition, so
Yes,
boats were more together. Now it will be today with north wind, it's very shifty and a lot of differences of pressure on the field.
we haven't seen many boats on port deck, so
the-
I believe the wind is really far right at the moment.
Just-
Unfortunately
Yes,
for the
just
Portuguese.
yes, unfortunately they are not in a good position, but a lot of things to go. Just at the beginning of the race, there was looking to be more pressure on the left side, but the wind suddenly,
It changes, huh?
yes,
It can
dropped
change
on
a
the
lot.
left side and shift to the right.
Look at the Italians. They looked like they were really strong off the start, and they're not looking great now.
As you can see
Right-hand
now,
shift.
Pedro, it was the Oscar flag on the start, so all the first upwind, even if the wind drops to zero,
They
people
can keep pumping, huh?
can keep pumping, yeah.
But if the wind drops, the race officer can decide to drop the Oscar flag around the top mark, and from that moment on, then there won't be allowed any pumping.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay with the men right now, with the men fleet. We will try to see a little bit of the mixed teams after the men's finish the race. We will also be giving you some updates on mark roundings for the other fleets. We can see the wind is really far. It's lighter and right. The Austrians also had a good start from the pin end. They're insisting on the left. They're waiting for the left-hand shift. It's not there yet. Little bit of drama here with the wind shift straight after the start, isn't it?
It will be drama till the last the last second on the second race.
It's never over, especially with conditions like this. Here we are, a little following the right-hand side of the fleet. This should be the boats looking better to go around first on the top mark. The wind's gone right after the start. Boats that started closer to the committee boat got that advantage. We can see the Portuguese crossing to the right-hand side. They are trying to cut the loss. Pedro working really hard on that trapeze. We can see the mast swinging around.
Yes, Pedro was working a lot, and physically is much better. You can see that how he's pumping. Very good technique and very good resistance also.
It's very tricky when the wind goes right like that and you are the leeward boat going on starboard, and that decision that if you want to stay there and be patient to see if the wind is going to go back to the left, or if it's a consistent shift to the right with more pressure on the right hand side, you have to admit that you lost a little bit. You have to go and try to recover a little bit, tack to the right, try to get to the path. But again, things can change. If you cross behind to the right and all of a sudden the wind goes left, you lose even more. So it's really hard to make a decision here.
That's depend a lot of the behavior of the wind and the pattern of the wind. Sometimes you have to admit that keeping on the left, we will lose more and more and more. So you must to admit it and to cross, lose some boats and start to recovering.
Yeah. We saw this American boat before on the right hand side. They didn't look good in the beginning, but they certainly look really, really strong right now. USA 1835. Sean and August Dale, Sean Harvey and August Dale, they were 27th overall before this race, and they are looking very strong. It's the beauty of our sport, because when we have conditions like this, it's an opportunity for boats to make a move, to try their luck sometimes on one side of the course, get that shift, make a move on the fleet. That's exactly what this team has done on this first beat. We have Sean and August from USA leading the race. Leg 1, mark number 1, race 10. It's USA.
Oscar flag drop.
Oscar flag is down, so they will have to sail with no pumping, no rocking. Here in second place, the Greek team, Panagiotis and Pavlos. We have the Swiss team going fourth around. Swiss team trying to make a move on the Portuguese overall to try and still get that Olympic place. Followed by Brazilian 27. Henrique Haddad and Bruno Bethlem.
Não pode ficar à nossa frente, nós temos que apanhá-lo.
You can see spinnakers up. We didn't see the Swedes either on that top mark yet. Spain 44, they played the left. That didn't work. They looked good off the start, if you can remember.
Like Giacomo Ferrari, the Italians, they were also very good on the starting.
Looking great, and all of a sudden,
but they
the
keep
wind
on the
goes
left
right.
side and was not playing at all. There was just after the start, the wind drops on the left, change to the right, and rise on the right.
But with conditions like this, it's never over. So these Americans, if they are not sharp, looking at the wind shifts and the puffs, they can lose the lead, they can lose a lot of places. It's very important to keep looking at the race course.
Yes, very tricky conditions, so the race will be open till the end. As you can see, Pedro, all the guys on the left side, they just on the back of the, like now you can see Jordi Chamar.
We're trying to figure out where are the Portuguese. Portugal 21. This is Portugal 25, the Pires brothers, Gonçalo and Rodolfo. Here in the front of the fleet still have USA 1835. Leading from the Greek team, Greece number 1. Hungary 1, third. This outer loop course, the fleet go around the top mark into a reach to mark number 2. This gives the opportunity for this fleet to offset from the following fleet so they don't interfere with each other. The women's fleet and mixed teams will be doing the inner course. That means that they will go around the top mark into a run, a downwind leg instead of a reach.
I can tell you, Pedro, this will be drama till the last second.
It's never over. It's never over. On the reach, there's not many changes of places because it's a straight line.
Yes, the outer
Downwind.
loop. The outer loop is not the best course to the guys that are just very behind on the first mark because it's difficult.
It's
to
difficult to recover on the
recover,
reach,
yeah.
but the downwind, you never know. The downwind, there's a little bit to play. They can choose to go downwind on starboard or port
Yeah, they
to
are now
start.
arriving to the mark number 2, and now starts the downwind.
And no Oscar flag for the moment, so you can see no pumping on those sails. The Greeks are getting very close to the American team. We see Hungary and Switzerland following them, and then Brazil.
Now you can see Hungarians and the Swedish, the Swiss guys that are also fighting for the spot for the Olympics. They are in a very good position in this race.
Also the Austrians coming here at 6th. They also not qualified the country for the Olympics. Luke Patience just behind them, and another American boat there. That is Stewart and David. There were 6 overall. They're the Swedes. They're the Swedes looking good, looking to improve their lead overall as the Portuguese are further back. Also the Spanish and the Russians are further back. This will be a big move for the World Championship title for the Swedes, looking at their main opposition further back in the fleet.
They're in a very good position to gain points.
We can see the Russians here, I believe, going about 12 or between 12 and 15 on this race.
Here is Mantis, that is a very experienced sailor.
They've been racing for 70s for quite a few years together.
Long time sailing together. It's
Do you
very
have any
experienced
idea
coach,
when they
very
started sailing
experienced-
together?
Sorry?
Do you have any idea when they started sailing together, this team? What, 10 years maybe? More?
More than 10 years sailing
That's
together.
amazing. For 70 is a class that some teams they stay very long. Here we go with the Portuguese, Portugal 21. They were sailing close to the other Greek team. Obviously different fights there. The Greek team, Vasilis and Ioannis, trying to improve their position to try and get close to this other team, the Panagiotis and Pavlos, but they are second and they're making a move on the Americans to try and lead the race. Our Portuguese heroes not looking so good on race number 10. Portugal 21, second overall after 10 races. Not going so well in this race. For sure they can see the Swiss going fourth downwind. They have a bit of work to do. They had a 51-point lead over the Swiss for the Olympic qualification. Those are a lot of points, but everything can happen.
Everything can happen.
Right now they
As I
need to
told you,
focus.
There are 2 races to go, plus the medal race, a lot of points in game. Nothing gets won, nothing gets lost.
I believe we can see the women's fleet going upwind on their first leg. We will try to get some updates when they go around the top mark. The mixed teams still on their starting procedure. See here the Portuguese ahead of the Russians. And I believe I counted about 15 for the Russians. We will try to figure out how many boats in front of the Portuguese so we can understand how is this fight for the Olympic qualification. We already saw the Swedes looking well in this race, so they will still be leading overall if they manage to keep this separation to their opposition.
It's a good, very good race for the Swede guys for the moment.
Diogo rolling into a jibe. Pedro swinging that spinnaker pole around, try to keep that spinnaker flying downwind.
Great, they didn't lost any speed. That is very important on jibing.
But it's amazing, we see all these teams jibing. The technique, everyone is so strong on the boat handling.
They were working very, very hard on this pandemic period of time. There was no racing, but there was a lot of training camps.
And
in
they were
Vilamoura,
tuning up with the I believe with the Swedes and the Spanish, three very strong teams tuning together.
yes, they work a lot together. The Costa brothers, the Swede guys, and also Jordi Chamar, the Spanish. They work all winter together.
And we can see that this work is paid because they are 1, 2, and 3 overall at the moment.
That's correct.
There's no secret here.
And if you work very hard, if you work to the top, you must work no more than 3 countries together because there are only 3 medals.
Luis always with his good sense of humor.
No, it's just,
we had so many
it's,
laughs
no,
in life
it's
together.
true. It's not sense of humor. You have 3 medals, so you have to work
that's
with
right.
no more than 3 countries.
It's yeah, to finish 4th in the Olympics is it's very hard sometimes.
It's very hard. It already happened with us, the Portuguese, with Gustavo Lima, that in Beijing he finished 4. It was very tough for everyone, but mostly for himself, for sure.
That's right. We see the Greeks here. They taking the lead on this race. They overtook the Americans. I believe they overtook the Americans before the rounding of mark number 2. They managed to get to leeward inside rights.
As you can see also, Pedro, very good race from the Hungarian team.
The Hungarians, I've heard they're very good in the light winds. They had a good day yesterday, the Hungarians.
They are very serious guys. They were working so hard also. All teams were working so hard during this winter. It looks like there is a
Change of course.
Change course, yeah.
Or the Oscar flag back up. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, just arriving to the mark number 3.
We have Oscar. And we have M. That means that they have to go around the rib because there was probably a technical problem with the mark.
That's correct. That flag means that is the position of the mark.
The M flag, so when they have the M flag hoisted, that means that that will replace the mark. All the boats taking this mark. I wonder if there was a problem with the other gate mark. We see 4 boats around. The 5th is the Austrian. The Swedes 7th and the French 8th. We'll figure out. We can see Portugal 21 coming down here. So they could be still top 10. That means they are about 6 boats behind the Swiss.
Good mark rounding from the Portuguese. As you saw, Pedro, on the first upwind, Diogo and Pedro Costa, they just leave the left side in time not to lose so much.
Trying to figure out here all the information for you. The Costa brothers now decided.
Beautiful to be the
decided.
balance of the boat.
Very flat. Oscar flag is up. They can pump again. We can see the wind picked up again. There's the Swiss.
Diogo getting the eyes out of the boat, watching, trying to understand how the wind is changing to make the right decisions.
I'm trying to. I'm here with Luis. We are doing all these comments on the men's fleet race 10. I'm trying to get also the messages here from our spectators. The women, they have started already. They must be close to the top mark. We will try to give you some information. You can see the Swedes there. The Portuguese could be shortening the distance to the Swedes, trying to get back in this race. The Swedes are back on starboard. Portuguese still going right. We can see the boat on the far left. That could be the Greeks. They're quite high on starboard.
Quite high, yeah.
That means if they're high on starboard on the left-hand side, they won't be able to tack to the right-hand side. Otherwise, they will have a bad angle on port. That could give an opportunity for these boats on the right-hand side to get something out of it. Portuguese going to attack. They're happy enough. They don't want to take too many chances on the right-hand side. They don't want to be too exposed. They're not that bad in the race. Better than they looked.
That's correct, Pedro. That is a very important point. If you are 10 overall, you must understand that in a risky field, you cannot risk at all. So you must be with the fleet. Not to lose the contact. Not to lose the contact.
In a big series like this with 11 races, it's important. The most important thing is not to lose the championship. You don't want to win a championship in one race. You have to win it in a series of races. So
right, Pedro. You never win the championship in one race, but you can lose the championship in one race.
Exactly. So it's so important to be careful, not to be too exposed, especially in conditions like today, with shifty and gusty winds. Portuguese look like they have a good pressure there, coming across on starboard.
They have very good speed, so they don't have to risk. That is very important.
I'm just looking at some information here from the race committee. It looks like there was a general recall for the women. They still haven't started, which is actually good news for you, because as soon as we finish the men's race, we will try to follow one of the other fleets. Just hold in there. Our spectators, we will give you all the information. For the moment, there's no other fleet racing. Here's a view over the left-hand side of the course. I believe the boat on the left-hand side of the screen could be the Americans. It's either the Americans or the Greeks. My eyes sometimes they don't work as well as they used to, Luis. But this boat tacking could be the Greek, and we see maybe the Americans. No, the Greeks are still on starboard. So the boat that we just saw tacking.
Yeah, the first 5 boats, they keep all together. No one wants to take a risk. No one is.
There are the Americans over there. We can see them on the right-hand side of our screen. They're to leeward of the Greek. The Greeks going for attack there. Could see some of these teams following. There's 3 minutes now for the women's start. It's a black flag. They had some general recalls. We can see the fleet very spread over the race course. With conditions like this, it's much easier to see a lot of separation between the boats.
Yes, Peter, because the guys that are behind, they just want to try something different, so they will risk. They have to risk to have a chance to
We have here the Greeks in the
to improve.
Here, Luis, we can see the helm Panagiotis sitting inside the boat so that the crew can be further out and pump better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if the helm sits on the side, that means that the crew will have to bend their knees and it's not so easy to pump.
It's not so effective, the
That's
pumping.
We have here Luis Rocha with us, technical director of the Portuguese Sailing Federation, a lot of experience. He can give us so much information on what's going on in this class. He's been in the class since 1992 Barcelona Olympics, coaching the Portuguese Olympic team, bronze medalist as a coach with Hugo Rocha and Nuno Barreto from Portugal. He then coached Álvaro Marinho and Miguel Nunes, former European champions. They won many events. Luis is very well respected in this class. He knows exactly what's going on.
And I respect this class. And I respect all the friends in this class. Because we all grow up with this family. We learn so much, not only about sailing, Pedro. We learn about life.
Thank you, Luis. And you've been my coach and I learned a lot from you.
And we laugh also a lot together.
We have some messages here. A lot of people sending us messages. Good messages about Luis. Frederico Champalimau, my former crew in the 470.
He was suffering
Luis
a lot
Rocha
with
is
you.
the boss.
He was suffering a lot sailing together with you.
Yes, we had a good time.
And we are suffering a lot watching this race, Pedro, now.
It's very hard, it's nail biting. A lot of things happening here in Vilamoura for the World Championships
They are
470.
preparing, so they are very close to the mark, probably.
You can see in the far end some boats flapping there. That should be the women's.
the last
Yeah, he's approaching the mark. No Vang already.
But I believe they're still not on the ley line because there's some boats a lot further right
A
than
lot
that.
of wind shift, look.
Yes,
They're just
playing the
tacking
ship.
and tacking and tacking.
They don't want to lose any wind shifts, Luis. Miguel Torrão sending a hug.
Pedro,
as well.
they can, in these wind shifting conditions, you cannot lose one shift. If
Because you get out
if
of
you lose
phase.
one, waiting for the second one, we start to lose all them.
The thing is, you lose one, you miss one wind shift. That means you're gonna go on a header. You stay on a header, you lose the phase, and then it's very hard to get back on the phase with
Right,
the wind
Pedro.
shifts.
Start being header and header and header.
That's right. Sometimes you wait too much to get into this wind shift, and you end up tacking and going straight into another header.
Look how the Greeks are sailing so perfectly, because a lot of differences of pressure and the wind direction, and they're still keeping the boat perfectly.
Very good job here. Very experienced team from Greece. Panagiotis, Mantis, Pavlos, Caglialis, and we see the Portuguese there coming across on port. Everybody wants to know how they're doing in the fleet. We see the Swiss. Oh, the Greek actually have lost the lead to the boats further left. We see the Swiss making a move on the fleet, going third now. I believe it's the Americans leading again. 1835. They got the lead back. Sean and Augustdale back in the lead from Luke Patience and Christian Gruber.
Very dangerous. They are getting in the mark.
Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 around the mark. The Greeks lost 6 places on this upwind leg.
The approach was from the left side.
Yes, the left. As we said before, the first beat, the right paid, and it was tricky because they were expecting a left-hand shift, and some of the sailors had to just admit that the left wasn't good. They came back to the right, and now second beat, bang, the left hand comes in, and the boats that played that managed to get some places.
And Pedro Costa, Diogo Costa, they lost some places in this second upwind.
Here they go around the mark.
Too much right side. But they are not in a bad position.
They are not so bad.
Because if you are looking overall, you must understand that with the lead they have from the boats that
they are about 11th, I believe.
For.
The Swiss were third around the mark and the Portuguese now 11th. That means that they will lose 8 points to the Swiss, but still that would mean more than 40 points. Still looking really good to get this Olympic qualification.
That's of course the main goal of Diogo and Pedro Costa is to catch the Olympic spot. But as you can imagine, Pedro, it's a lot of pressure, a big pressure for them, because they are a young team. Of course, they won the World Championship in the 420s, that is the class just previous to the 470s. They are very talented sailors, but they are young sailors, and in the Olympic world they are not used to be in top. So they have to learn how to be on the top, how to manage the pressure, and how to get pleasure from the pressure. That is one of the most interesting things that you must learn. Learn to live with pressure and having pleasure on that.
I have some updates here from the other fleets. The AP flag went up and now it's been lowered 1 minute ago. So it's 5 minutes for the start for the women fleet, and we will go straight into that race after we see the finish here from the men. So it's good news for our spectators. They wanted to see more racing. We will see the other fleets. It will be 2 races today. This is race number 10. They'll be doing race number 11 after this. And then tomorrow we will have the top 10 from each fleet fighting for the medal race. That will be a double counter.
With the top 10 boats.
I believe between the Swedes and the Portuguese there was about 5 places. I cannot tell you exactly, but that's the impression that I have. Our other camera boat is getting ready to see the start from the women. We have this camera boat here following the men. We will try to figure out the results. We will follow the finish so that everyone can see exactly the updates on the
Very
scoreboard.
good, the Swiss guys. Look how they're playing. Great job.
Very synchronized, isn't it?
Very young helm, very young team, very talented also.
I believe Luke Patience was second. Luke and Christian were second around the top mark. Race was led by the Americans, The Americans led on the first mark rounding, then they lost to the Greeks, but they played the left-hand side on the second beat. That was the move.
Look how Luke is working. He can be fast and down. Look,
Beautiful technique
fast
here.
and down.
Louis is a very enthusiastic coach. He's used to see from the coach boat and evaluate the boat work, the boat handling that the teams are doing.
Yeah, but it's easier to watch from
It's
the
easier to
coach
watch
boat.
than to do.
It's
Yeah,
easier.
that's right. But it's very important. You need
Look,
a good eye.
he was going fast and down to jibe it to be free after jibing.
The mixed teams will start after the women's race. At the moment, the men's fleet is the only fleet racing. It's actually 3 minutes for the start for the women, and the mixed fleet will follow after that. Nobody else is racing for the moment. We see here a change of lead. The Americans are not leading the race anymore. The British team probably jibed around that mark. The Americans kept on starboard. Well, with the left-hand shift on the second beat, the Americans probably protected the shift. The Great Britain boat jibed, looking for more pressure.
That's correct, Pedro.
Shift-wise, the Americans did the right call, but maybe the pressure dictated this
Yeah, with
change of
the left shift on
lead.
the last moments of the upwind, it's normal not to jibe.
That's right.
That's what the Americans did, but Luke was looking for pressure, and pressure was paying more than the wind shift.
Yeah, but sometimes even if you're going a little bit on a bad angle, but you have more pressure, you can go hit that pressure and then be on the right shift.
That's correct, and that's the difficult decision to do.
As long as it doesn't shift back, the advantage is on the pressure.
The wind is dropping now again.
But we can see on the far end there's a little bit more pressure to windward, Luis, I believe, on the left and to windward. But I don't think that pressure will hit these boats before the finish.
Now we are just close to the mark, to the final reach.
That will be the final jibe for the Great Britain team. Here we go, we're going for the start of the women. We will give you the finishing positions on the men, but I think we can now follow this race from the women. We will give you all the updates from the men. This is the start. It looks like it's a clear start. We have the Brazilians here on the committee boat together with the Greeks. Young
Okay,
Greek team
clear.
going straight for attack.
Well done, Fernanda. Brazil 177.
We are just gonna have a little look at the finish of the men's fleet, and we will be back to the women. We want to know what's going on here with the men, but we will go back to the women.
Estou agora a passar o barco. Estou agora a passar o finish. Estou agora eu a passar o finish.
We
And
have
now Pedro,
GBR.
look patient, just won the race.
That's the bullet. That's winner of race 10, Luke Patience and Christian Gruber. They finished, they were 17th overall, now winning this race. That will definitely improve their score.
Não vai haver entrevista. Vamos ficar a apanhar as chegadas.
Swiss 46, second in the race, making a move here for the Olympic qualification. Is it too late? Have the Portuguese done enough? Americans third. Fourth, we have Hungary. Fifth place, Greece 1, followed by the Swedes in 6. and Kevin Peponet, the French, 7. It's a nail-biting finish to see where the Portuguese, Brazilians 8, Turkish 9, and I believe the Portuguese will close the top 10. We can confirm that the Portuguese finishing 10th in this race in front of the Americans. Stewart and David, and followed by the Japanese in 12th place. Also the Russians, they're 14th. They will not help that their overall challenge for the win. The Spanish haven't crossed the line yet. That means that the Portuguese might keep their second overall. But they will lose a few points to the Swedes. I believe it will still be the Swedes leading the fleet from the Portuguese. But there's a lot of mixed results here between the Spanish and the Russians and the Italians, Americans and Greek and the Swiss. Who knows who is going to be third and fourth overall.
Now, Pedro, we must always wait for the protest time
That's
to have
correct,
to be
yes,
sure about
of
the
course.
results of the race.
These are always provisional results.
This is provisional results. We don't know exactly if there was any protest situation. We have no that information. And as we know, just after the first boat finishing the last race, we have 1 hour to know what about the protest. But we must know now. We must understand now what was going on with the results of the race. We have the Portuguese with 43 points. We have the Swiss with 86 points, and we have the Hungarians with 93 points.
So
it means
43 to 86.
it means 43 points
in between.
between them. So for our counts, if nothing happened with the protests, probably the Portuguese got the spot
Not
for
yet,
the Olympics.
because they have a 23rd as a discard,
Mhm.
plus 18 points that can be the difference between first and 10th in the medal race. So 23 plus 18 is 41. And what is the difference now?
43.
43. Well, I think it's really hard now for the Portuguese to lose.
But anyway, we must know if there was any protest situation during the race. But if nothing happened, we have 43 points difference between them, and with 42 point difference was the maximum, the minimum difference to get the spot for the Portuguese.
I believe that is actually
But anyway, Pedro, the most important
We will
have
see.
to have pleasure to watching these races,
yeah, we are now with the
taking
women
advantage
fleet.
of the situation to have the best sailors of the world sailing
course, we are
in Vilamoura.
We are here very excited about this because obviously we cannot hide that we are Portuguese and
Of course, we are looking for
our
the Portuguese,
Costa
but
brothers.
we are also respecting the lot, and we're looking for the Swiss, and looking for the Hungarians, and for the Israeli guys and Austrians that are also working very hard, and they were working very hard all winter, and they deserve also that spot for the Olympics. So
That's
everyone was working a lot, and this is amazing sailors, some of them really young, that are dreaming about the Olympic Games. Now we have the women fleet
They
on
are
the
in
first
leg one.
upwind of the race number 10.
They're leg 1 of race 10.
The wind was increasing, as you can see. The finishing of the race number 10 of the men's, there was dropping, was really light wind. Now we have a beautiful breeze.
We will try to figure out what's going on here with the women. At the moment, we have one camera here looking at the fleet. It's hard to identify from the distance. Well, the Dutch team is easy to identify because they have that sponsor, vertical sponsor on the mainsail, third boat from the left of our screen. But it's hard to tell how many boats ahead and behind them.
On the women fleet, we have very interesting information. Like the new team Aphrodite with Lopka. Lopka was sailing many years. She left top level sailing. Then she comes back with Aphrodite, and they are just making a beautiful comeback. Win second place on this moment.
That's an amazing job.
Amazing job. And we have also a very beautiful situation in this regatta, that is with the Greek 7, with Mili, that was the crew of Sofia Beccatoro that won the gold medal in the 2004 Athens, and she came back after all these years to sail again Olympic sailing.
And it's all to be decided today between these two Greek teams. It's a very interesting fight. They're not that far apart. They're only 8 points right now. Maria and Rafaelina.
Maria, that is a great sailor, also quite young. She was doing very well on the last campaign, and now she's 18. And Mili is 21. So
years old.
They are very close one to each other, and it's beautiful to see Mili that was not sailing Olympic sailing from 2004 coming back this year. I'm very happy with Mili because as I told you before, this is like a family, and I was on her wedding in 2005 in Athens. So I'm very proud, I'm very happy. Mili is like a sister.
It's great to see her here.
Oh, it's beautiful. I was not hugging her like I was wishing because we must
keep the
distance between us. But the feeling was so beautiful, and the smiling one was on our eyes. So seeing Mili on the wedding in 2005 and seeing her
here
again,
racing
it
for
was
70 again, 2021.
Beautiful
achievement.
It was probably one of the most crazy weddings in my life. Can you imagine? Because Sofia got married in Athens, in a beautiful place, a Greek wedding. So
I can imagine.
Greeks.
We are here.
Greeks are like they are, and weddings are what they are. So it was beautiful. Now we have top mark Pedro.
And GBR1, Anna Mills and Ailey leading the pack. They had a great day yesterday, and they are having a good first race today.
It looks like each race they are selling it better and better, coming back.
That's right. Yesterday they had a fourth and a first, and now looking like two back-to-back wins. In this World Series, we have the Swedes going around the mark second. The Greeks are third. And as we mentioned just before, this fight for the Greeks, it's very important. The Italian 74, the Spanish, the overall leaders going now around the mark. It's very close rounding there. If they didn't touch the mark, they're going straight for the pole, so they... Now the Dutch team following the Spanish, trying to get closer to them. The other Greek here, very important fight between the Greeks. Also the Turkish. I believe that by now the mixed teams have started their race. We will show a little bit of that race as well. They're both doing, both fleets are doing the inner course, so it will be easy to figure out what's going on in both fleets.
Vamos por aqui. Yeah. Sim, vamos ver lá delas.
We're waiting for an update
mais rápido que elas,
on
mas não
the
muito.
overall score for the men.
Estou no ar.
I have here confirmation from the race committee. It was in fact GBR4
Estava no ar, eu.
in first place, second was Swiss 46, third was USA 1835, fourth Hungary 1, 5 Greece 1, 6 was the overall leaders Sweden 349. In seventh place we had the French 27, 8th was Brazil 27, Turkish 890 in ninth place, and finishing the top 10 was Portugal 21. We will have an update. Actually, we already have an update on the overall score. Luis, do you want to take us through this overall score now?
Yeah, Pedro, with this result, then now we have already the update of the overall score, and Pedro Costa, the Portuguese team, they got the spot for the Olympic Games.
Well, we have
It's
to wait
official
for
now.
any...
We have to wait for protests, but the information we have from the water that there was no protest situation, so we do believe that this is the final situation, the points after the 10 race.
Just to explain how the maths work, the Swiss now on 86 points. The best score they can have in the end of this series is actually a first on race number 11 and the first on the medal race. That would be 3 points. That would be 89 points in total. And the Portuguese with the 23rd as a discard, they would be 63. And with the medal race, even if they finish 10th, it's another 20 points, right?
18 points.
No, 20, if it's a 10th is 20 points. So that would mean there would be 83 points, 86 points. So that means that the Olympic qualification for the men, the last possible spot will be for Diogo and Pedro Costa, a great achievement for Portuguese sailing. It's so important for the sport in our country.
No, Pedro, it's a magic moment for the Portuguese sailing. To Pedro, to Diogo, and for them. There is a big team that was working for them, and this is their moment.
It's amazing. I'm pretty sure there's a big party going on now. Of course, we need to know if there's any protests. We have seen there's nothing yet, but I believe that's it. Now we're gonna follow this race for the women. We will see the celebrations later on, but for the moment we will continue to watch this race for the women and the mix. We saw the mix going up when they
Look,
already
Pedro,
started.
how Anna Mills is working. She's such a great sailor.
I tell you, yesterday they were flying downwind, you know, and if they got the lead on this top mark, it will be very hard for somebody to keep up with them.
You know what I really more like to see with Anna Mills is the upwind. When she doesn't start well, she's so beautiful to see the tactics on the upwind. She's finding always the small situations to get advantage, to grow, and to make a beautiful upwind.
Well, Anna Mills, gold medalist.
Is not some kind of simple sailor. She's one of probably the best sailor.
And you know that Ailey, her crew, is her father was a former gold medalist as well in the star class.
So there is talent on the DNA
There is
also.
a lot of talent here. We're gonna try to figure out here. The mark rounding is the GBR1 leading from Sweden 34. We can see the Americans 18-24 coming in a good position here, third. They had a really good day 2 days ago with the first and the second. Yesterday, it didn't go so well for the Americans. They had a 24th and they were over the line in the last race. But it's good to see them getting their game back together here, going around the mark third. We saw there's some teams took the other mark also. I believe the Spanish took the right hand mark, looking downwind, and the Dutch team the left hand. That will be the fight for the championship, with another 2 races to go after this one. It was a little change of course for the women. Charlie plus green. So that means that they will make a longer upwind leg than the previous one. And to the right. See here all the comments on the YouTube channel. All the Portuguese fans following this racing, sending a lot of good messages for the Costa brothers. We're back to the head of this race. Anna Mills will keep an eye on the Swedes. Because I believe Anna will not give many chances for the Swedes to get past.
Look how beautiful is the boat.
Very flat. I believe we can see the Italians further away from the camera on the left hand side of the course. Italy 74.
Benedetta Di Sali.
They are fighting for the Olympic qualification against the other Italian team.
You know, Pedro Beni will fight till the last centimeter. She never gives up.
For them it's more important actually to finish ahead of the other Italians than anything else at the moment.
But the difference between the 2 Italian teams are big, so they have to just thinking to win the race.
That's right. They will not be looking at the other Italians.
No, not at all. Just winning the race. And Benny fights like hell
because
to win.
Elena and Bianca, they're third overall this morning on 62 points. Benedetta and Alessandra were 10th overall on 79. That's 17 points difference. They will need to work really hard to get this 17 points from Elena and Bianca, Luis.
It will be not easy.
Also, we saw the fight between the Greeks. Maria and Rafelina, they were on 107 points in front of Ariane and Emily on 115. There was 8 points between them, but Ariane and Emilia were actually ahead of the other Greeks, so they will shorten this distance with this in this race if they manage to stay ahead and put some boats in between.
Pedro, can you watching? This is very interesting to see the difference between Anna Mills and the crew. That is bigger than most of all the other teams.
They're a little bit more separated.
Yeah.
Ailey is actually a little bit further forward on the boat. We look at 1824 there, USA. They're much closer to each other, the helm and crew. Different techniques. Also the Germans. Germany 20 there. Also big separation between. Well, we can, with these tropic conditions, if the sailors are more apart, there is less swing, less pitching on the boat.
That's why the animals try to get with that separation between them.
If they are closer together, the bow will be bouncing much more. If they are more apart from each other, it will be much more stable bow.
Yeah.
We see the Spanish there.
Sylvia is not in a very good position, as you see. Spain 18.
They're a lot further to leeward. I remind for those that don't understand exactly how the geometry of the race course is. They are all on starboard tack here. The Spanish, as you see now, they're tacking onto port.
Look, Benny trying to be closer to Anna Mills.
We see the Dutch team there on the left side of the course. Actually, it's the right hand side of our screen, going a little bit faster than the boats are lured. That was Greece 7. Lopka is a very experienced crew. Actually, both those boats there with the most experienced crew of this fleet, Emilia Tsufla on the Greek boat and Lopka Berkhout on the Dutch boat.
Just tacking now. And Anna Mills also tack now. You see, Anna is never on the corners. She's just playing, not taking any risk, just controlling the fleet.
But it looks like a little bit more stable wind now. It doesn't look as shifty as it was in the beginning of the day.
Yes, Pedro, the wind increased, so it was more stable. We have no more places without wind and places with pressure. Now the pressure is more stable. Of course, wind shifting anyway, because it's north wind. In Vilamoura is shifting conditions, but the pressure is around the field, so it's a little bit more easy, and the speed will pay more than being on the pressure.
That's right. It looks like the breeze more spread out the whole race course.
Beautiful to see the main sheet working, the boat completely fleet.
We will try to go to the mixed teams in a minute. I want to follow a little bit this women fleet.
It's very beautiful to see the plan, the position of Anna Mills on the field. She's always in a very good position to play any possibility of change of the wind. She's never in a position that cannot play with the wind opportunities.
Well, and also I believe that the Swedes were the closest boat to them, and they are trying to do a little bit of a loose cover here. They're not trying to take their wind, but they don't want them too far away to avoid that they could take a wind shift and come stronger.
We have this information from the field. We have 18 knots now. Beautiful conditions.
18 knots of breeze, that's...
So probably we have the second race of the day for the men and women with about 20 knots. That will be completely different conditions from the first race, at least for the men's.
We will follow. I have an update here from our team that we will follow this race all the way to the end from the women, and then we will see the starts for both men and women, and then go to the mixed teams. We will give you a full race on the mixed teams. I hope you understand that it's our priority here is to see these World Championships in the Olympic disciplines. For the moment, the mixed teams are not yet an Olympic discipline. They will be for 2024. There's a lot in stake with the men and the women fleet. We saw the Swedes tack there. We will be looking at attack from the Great Britain. Here we go, covering, staying between the Swedes and the top mark. See, the Italians looks like they're third at the moment. I wonder where are the Americans. They were third around the gate, behind, in front of the Italians, but maybe the Italians making the move on the Americans. The Americans could beat this boat coming on port, close to the ley line. So Anna Mills and Ailey leading the fleet on race 10 into a reach to mark number 2. Second, actually, Italy 74. They climbed from 4th to 2nd on this speed, beating the Swedes and the Americans. It's a very important result for the Italians if they want to still have a chance to beat the other Italians for the Olympics. See the Dutch team here coming 5th in front of the Spanish. Also an important fight to follow. I'll remind you that the Dutch team were 8 points behind the Spanish.
And now Elena, Berta,
Elena and Berta now
that is
going
in
around the
internal
mark, and the
fight
Spanish.
with Benny,
And the Spanish.
just in front of Silvia Mas.
So they are actually looking okay in this race. They won't lose too many points to their opponents. Here Camille and Aloise, 4th overall. They had a good start in the regatta with the 1st and the 2nd in the first 2 races, but they have been quite inconsistent. They won 2 races, a 2nd and a 3rd, but all other races outside the top 10. Consistency is key, Luis. There's no way you can win a championship if you're not consistent.
Pedro, it's 11 races, more a medal race. So consistency, as you said, is the key point.
So they have 2 first places, a 2nd and a 3rd, which is an amazing score for 4 races, but with a 12, a 13, 15, 17, 19, and now they're also not looking that good.
Yeah. And also, Pedro, when I was coaching Alvaro and Miguel, for many years they were getting always 5th place, 4th place, 5th place, 4th place, 6th place, 5th place, and never medals. We are trying to understand that and looking for the results for the series. They were always winning maybe 2-3 races, but also getting some 18, 19
results.
and 20.
Yes.
So our approach was to avoid first places. What was meaning that? Was meaning that we were taking less risks. Well, they were not risking too much during
That's right.
all the regattas.
Yes.
So risking less, they were not getting so much first places. We were getting 2nd, 4th, and 5.
But also not so many 20s.
Not so many 20s.
That's right. So important to be consistent.
So the key was not win races. Behind that, there is all a philosophy of doing regattas.
Yes, of course. But if you are so strong that you can win all the races, that's a good consistency also.
Also, of course, if you are first, you are not stopping the boat to lose any boat.
Of course, yeah, that's right. Great job here from Anna Mills and Eiley from Great Britain. Increasing their lead over the Italians. Now I remind you that the Italians were 4th around the gate. They managed to overtake both Swedes and Americans on the 2nd beat. I believe the mixed teams were going around the top mark around the women fleet, so it was very hard to get the information on the mark rounding. But as the mixed teams go downwind to the gate, we will give you an update.
The wind was again dropping, so
Dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
But with these conditions here, with this wind direction, it's always like that. We saw the wind building and then it's dropping and we'll build again. Wind will shift the right to shift to the left, and the sailors have to keep an eye on every wind change.
and
Try
this
and
is
take
very difficult for
advantage.
the crews because of the wind is changing so much of intensity, so they have to adapt the boat during the same upwind for different wind conditions.
Wind conditions. So the settings have to be a more overall setting and not such an extreme. It has to be something that works for every wind condition.
Yes, Pedro, you are right. But also the dynamic settings, they have to be ready to adapt that for the wind that you get at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of play on the kicker, on the
That's
Cunningham,
correct,
on the
and you must
outhole.
work. If you don't work on that, you don't get the maximum speed of the boat for each conditions.
And can you also work dynamically on the jib Cunningham?
You can do that.
But that's inside the boat. It's not so easy to reach.
No,
that.
it's not. It's not so easy. But you can work with the tension of the boat.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's correct. So you put more tension. You also getting the luff tighter on the jib.
That's correct, Pedro.
A little bit more powerful in the front. Here we go. The Italians going around that mark number 2. They will go downwind now.
This is a big fight between the Italian team because they are two great women teams, and just one can go to the Olympic teams, to the Olympic Games. So it's like what we had in Portugal when Hugo and Nuno against Alvaro and Miguel. They were first and second on the world ranking list, and just one of them could go to the Olympics. So it was a pity, but it's the reality.
That's right. I think we have 3 boats around the mark now. The Dutch going around 4th, followed by the Greek. Greece number 7 in 5th. A little bit of a separation between the top 5 and the rest of the pack.
You see, Benny is trying to gain advantage. He's doing her job,
Benny
doing the
is coming
best.
6th
But
actually.
Elena is not doing big mistakes. She's already in a very good position. Elena and Bianca.
Elena and Bianca coming 6th here, so that's going to be 5 points.
It's also a great regatta they are doing. They are not losing too much for this fight between Elena, Bianca Caruso against Benny Di Sale and Alessandra Dubini.
So they were 17 points apart. So with this result, 5 points that Benedetta and Alessandra will get 5 points from the other Italians. They will be 12 points behind for race number 11. 2 races to go and 12 points separating these Italian
It's not
teams.
too much. It's not too much.
It's not
because
too
there
much.
is also the medal race. That is double points.
Especially with the day with the wind conditions like this, you know, because so many things can happen.
Pedro, with these conditions, you have a bad start, and on the wrong side, you can be lost easy.
It's amazing because with the wind coming from the land like this, with so many shifts, so many puffs, sometimes even if you are not pushing so hard physically, you still end the day exhausted because of so much concentration that it's needed to keep an eye on the wind, isn't it? Have you the Swiss team here jibe setting inside the Polish, trying to overtake one more boat. Every point counts in the end.
You see, Pedro, I think this last reach is like a downwind. That's the reason why, for example, the Greek team is keep going.
No, now they came from the
Now they
reach now
start the
into a
downwind.
downwind. Exactly.
That's why she came. But the wind is the pressure is on the other side.
It looks from
That's
the
why
screen.
the jibe set. Everyone is doing jibe set.
And maybe also a right hand shift. So with the right hand shift, normally the sailors they decide to go for a jibe. It's a better angle on port with the right hand shift.
And they are also pointing to catch the pressure.
We see there the Italians have a little bit more pressure now than the Great Britain boat,
That's why British are luffing
coming a little bit higher to
Higher
try and
to-
get to that pressure.
to get the pressure also.
Well, we have an update from the start of race number 11 from the man UFD Swiss 46. They were over the line on race 11. I believe with this result, even with any protests, the Portuguese now guarantee 100% guarantee their qualification.
Yes,
For the
now
World
with this
Championships.
information that the Swiss team
For the Olympics, I mean.
that was in 8th place get disqualified from race number 11 with the UFD. They just start
Well, let's
before
see.
the time.
Let's see what the Costas now, if they're gonna change their tactics. They could become more aggressive now. They guarantee the Olympic qualification.
Yes, everything is changed now because there is no more pressure about getting the spot for the Olympic Games, about Diogo and Pedro Costa. Now they are keeping the 2nd place. And they also, now they can fight, they can really fight just thinking about get a medal at this World Championship.
Or who knows, the gold medal, because now 20 points in front of the Spanish and the Russians. There's a tie here between the Spanish and the Russians for 3rd place, and not that far behind the Italians, 11 points in 5th place behind the 4th. So it looks a little bit like the Portuguese are the only ones that can actually challenge the Swedish, don't you think, Luis?
Yes, the Swedish, they are very, very experienced sailors. They are great, great sailors. And as you can see about the results, look the results. 4, 1, 5, 15, that is the worst. 3, 9, 2, 3, 3, 6. This is the scoring, that is a series that means they are the best team at the moment during this World Championship. They are great, great guys, great sailors. And look these results. That is exactly what we were talking before about having constancy.
Consistency in the front.
Not big difference between the best and the worst results.
That's right. But 7 points behind for the Portuguese is not a lot, Luis. And
No,
I
not a
believe
lot at all.
that the Swedes, they need to keep their game, because now the Portuguese brothers, I'm sure they are so motivated now that they guarantee their qualification for the Olympics, and I believe that they will be very aggressive now from this moment on. They are not worried about that anymore, and they will be looking to try and challenge the Swedes.
Now, it's beautiful to see this situation. Having a regatta in Portugal and the Portuguese that are the outsiders of these best teams fighting seriously to get a medal, and also the gold medal is not so different. Is not a big difference between them and the Swedish, and it's amazing that after 10 races we can have 20 points. The Portuguese in front of the Spanish Jordi Chamar, that they are on the last World Championship they were 2nd place.
That's great.
So amazing to see this. And also the Swedish, they already won European, so
they are actually double European champions right now.
So
they won
one
the
of the
last
best.
2 Europeans.
Amazing. They are great, great sailors.
Yeah. Here we have Anna Mills and Eiley McIntyre. Last jibe to go around the bottom gate into a reach to the finish. Back-to-back bullets in this series for the World Championships 2021 in Vilamoura. A little bit of a late challenge for Anna and Eiley, but for sure a very strong.
The goal of Anna is not this World Championship. For sure the goal of Anna will be the Olympics. So they're just working, focus on the key moment.
Well, they were on 78 points, 9th overall, and now with another bullet they might be going up into the top 5 overall.
It's not over, so
It's not over. But I mean, to challenge the leaders here, the Spanish were on 43 points before this race, and Anna and Eiley on 78. That's 35 points for 3 races. Here we go. They cross the finish line, Winners of race 10, the women fleet, Anna Mills and Ailey McIntyre. We can see the Spanish here going around the bottom gate as well, in front of the Brazilians.
This is the big fight for the first place.
I believe the Spanish are inside the top 5 in this race. We are going to go for an interview on the winners of race number 10. Shortly, we're just seeing these mark roundings for some of the women teams.
Now we can see Tina and Veronica, the Slovenian team, very experienced. They already won Europeans also.
Tina, Mark and Veronica from Slovenia, they are 16th overall at the moment.
You know, Pedro, for many years they are working with Tomasz Chopi, a great friend, a great sailor and a great coach.
We can see how easy it is, I mean, how even this fleet is. We can see teams that were a little bit further back in the overall score, all of a sudden winning a race. You know, it's so easy. If you make a mistake, it's very expensive.
Right, Pedro, this is a very competitive class. So even world champions and European champions can take easily 20th place in a race.
Here we see the Americans crossing the finishing line in front of the Slovenian team. We will be following the mixed teams on the next race. We will go into a break. We will not follow this race from the mixed teams, but we will follow the next one. The men are on the way for race number 11. We will go for a 5-minute break after this. We will go now into a break. Stand by. We will be back for more action in Vilamoura. See you shortly. Here we are back to the race course. I have been following all your messages, and we do understand your request to follow the women's race. We were just late on the start. They just started race number 11. We will not follow the men's race or the mixed teams. We will try to figure out what's going on those races. I will keep you updated on mark roundings. We are doing the best we can to try and keep you all informed. I have been on your side. I understand the curiosity. You're all nervous to know what's going on with your teams. We had a clear start for the women. This is race 11, leg 1. The breeze is up. We can see now from the left. Left side of the course, the Italians, Elena and Bianca, once again trying for the pin end. We can see that the Spanish didn't have the best start. Just trying to read here the fleet. It feels a little bit like there was a committee bias. The boats to windward looking a bit better than the boats on the left to leeward. See there, Anna Mills again with a good start. Hannah and Ailey. We have here Luis back with us. This is the women's fleet, race 11. The Spanish now tacking onto port. They will try to find a better lane. They were with turbulence from the boats in front. I appreciate your patience on this little break we had. We all need a little break. We are back in action. It's all happening in Vilamoura for 70 World Championships 2021. It's a big fight here for many things in stake. They all want to be crowned world champions, but there's also other targets here. Some of these teams trying to qualify for the Olympics.
As you can see, Pedro, the Elena Berta, they won the pin on the starting line. That is a typical approach of Elena, just risking a little bit, but...
I tell you, I have seen Elena in the
Elena,
Elena, I need the accent. Elena, look, the bow's coming down. She has a little bit of a lefty here. She could be going into attack, but she has been starting at the pin almost every race. I can tell you that.
It's a typical approach of Elena starting on the pin. Is a risking approach. If you speak with the top sailors, I can tell you, for example, look, Anna Mills, just taking now, they have an opportunity to cross, and just they want to get that opportunity.
And also
now Elena did the same.
Elena attacking onto port. It looks like she's
Bianca,
able to get across the fleet.
Now they have to cross. If she doesn't cross, she will never be in position to play. If she doesn't cross, they have to go again to the left side, and she's just playing on the left side. They cannot. She will lose the feel to play. So they have to cross that boat.
We're back on the right-hand side of the course here, trying to figure out what's going on the right-hand side. We see the boats coming on port. That's the Great Britain one on the left-hand side, just getting out of our screen, and the other boat to the right-hand side coming also on port is Italy 6. I'm watching here your comments. The women are not around the top mark yet. You can see them coming upwind.
Yeah.
This is the view from the left-hand side. You can see that the boats that managed to get across the fleet got an immediate stretch on the fleet.
And we can see that Anna Mills just take again, controlling the fleet, not avoiding to be in a corner. She wants to have all possibilities to play. She's not taking out possibilities, just getting close to one of the corners.
I remind you that Anna and Ailey had 2 back-to-back bullets on race 9 and 10, and now looking good again in race 11. There's some interesting fights here. The lead of the championship, actually it's only 3 points behind the Spanish and the Dutch. Try to find out what's going on with these two teams. The fleet is spread over the race course. Really hard to find all the teams. The fight between the Italians for the Olympic spot for Elena and Bianca against Benedetta and Alessandra. 12 points separating those two teams. The Americans also, Nicole and Lara, leading from Carmen and Emma for the American selection. They are both 10 and 13 overall, 10 points separating those two teams. Also the Greeks fighting, they are just 1 point separating both Greek teams fighting for the Olympic. This could be the last race for them because tomorrow is only the medal and they are outside the top 10. This could be a decider for the Greek team, Luis. You see, Ariane and Emilia, 17th overall, 121 points.
Amazing, 1 point difference.
1 point difference. So whoever wins this race between these two Greek teams will go to the Olympics. We will keep an eye on this fight.
And we can see, Pedro, in this upwind, again, a lot of difference in pressure and the wind direction. So it's a tricky field. A lot of opportunities that is not boring to watch. Not at all. Very interesting to have all this. We could watch 1 minute before that the boats that were keeping a little bit more to the left side, they took advantage of one wind shift and pressure.
You know, I can feel the tension here, Luis, because there's so many things here in stake. They are playing so many targets here. It's like I feel like when I was racing these boats in the 470, I feel this little nervous inside me.
Sure, because in 1 second you are leading, in other second you are losing.
I want to know.
And you have to be patient. That is very important.
But
Being
I'm not very patient at the moment, Luis. I'm sorry. I want to know who
and
is
not losing opportunities.
Who is
not waiting
winning
for the
each
next one,
fight.
because the next one it's too late. Look, Anna Mills never stops playing. She never stops and she never loses an opportunity.
But I believe it's the same with all these teams. They are all fighters.
She could not arrive on the first place on the top mark, but she will arrive sure on the first places. Then the race starts. Robert Scheid is not a 470 sailor, it's a laser sailor and a star class sailor. Robert Scheid always says that I start in the middle because I'm fast. Being fast, I can arrive on the top mark, on the top 10, the 10 first boats. Then the race starts.
That's it.
It's not important to arrive on in the first place on the top mark, but you can never arrive too behind. Then you must know also that the race will start from there. But to have that opportunity,
we can see, Luis, we can see the Dutch team on starboard really far behind.
That
this
Dutch
lead
team was
pack.
the one that was keeping a little bit more on the left side. She risked a little bit and they took some advantage, but Anna Mills didn't risk too much, but she's in the middle playing all wind shifts.
I am trying to figure out here some information from the race committee. I see all your messages, but it's hard to get all the information at the moment. the mixed teams will start shortly. The men are... They were rounding mark number 2 about 20 minutes ago. I haven't had any more updates from them, but I promise I will send you all the information as soon as I get something. We will not show you the mixed team yet. I'm sorry about that, but there's a lot in stake here. This is Olympic qualification for the women. It's the World Championship also in stake. It's an Olympic class. The breeze is up. Hannah and Ailey, what a performance. The last 3 races, 4-1-1, and again leading race number 11. A little bit of a late challenge, but they already climbed to 4th. We can see also the Spanish really far back on Portec on the left hand side of the screen. I mean, if this Great Britain team can come back from where they were and challenge the gold medal, it will be an amazing achievement.
That's what means being a champion. Is someone that even when they start not so good a championship, they never lose the focus, and they're keeping doing the best in each regatta, not going down. You can see that Anna Mills, she did the 2nd place on the first race, but then 22, 16, 15, 20.
That was very expensive.
And even being behind the fleet, she never lost the focus. Then 15, 4, 1, 1, and now is leading
Well,
again.
she's approaching the top mark, leading the race here. I also saw the Americans attacking on the lay line.
This is what we mean, we call psychological resistance. Is someone that never lose the focus, even with a protest, even with the OCS, or even with a very bad result.
We have here Germany 20 going around the top mark, Israel 3, and 1824 USA 4th. They are ahead of the other American teams. Also Italy 6 in front of the other Italian team. So many notes to take here on these scores on each individual fight here for Olympic qualification. I mean, I haven't seen the Dutch and the Spanish. Italy 6. They were looking good. They could also get really close to those top 2 teams, Luis. You see, we have here, we could be looking at a very interesting medal race tomorrow with
Will be amazing.
many teams.
Will be a very open medal
Will
race.
be very tight on the scoreboard. It's all happening here.
Amazing, very good race again from Anna Mills, and also Elena Berta is doing quite well. I didn't saw Benny Di Sale, the second Italian, that are fighting between them to get the spot to the Olympics. That is not very good news for Benny.
Well, I didn't see the other Greek team. They were ahead of the... I was just looking here at the score, trying to figure out all these fights. I hope you understand all the spectators trying to follow the mixed teams, but you have to understand that there's a lot in stake here. Mixed teams, they have full campaign for 2024 in front of them. I have to agree with those asking us to follow the men and the women. We will have an European Championships in Vilamoura. And hopefully we will be able to broadcast that as well. That will be the first week of May for 70 European Championships in Vilamoura. It's an amazing calendar for Vilamoura, Luís. They have been doing such a great job here in the Algarve. After this World Championship, they will have also the Portugal Grand Prix, 16th to 19th of March, and in April we have the Finn European Championships. Then we have the laser qualifier for the Olympics, 17 to 24 of April, and then for 70 European Championships, and also Raceboard European Championships in July. Everything is happening in Vilamoura.
Amazing calendar.
Right now, Vilamoura is the world capital of sailing, Olympic sailing.
That's correct, Pedro. Now we are watching Aphrodite and the Lopka working perfectly downwind, trying to go further.
I have an update here for you. The mixed teams have started, and there is a UFD. It's France 7. They were disqualified on the starting line. France 7, Marina and Paco. We have the Italy 6. They were 12 points ahead of the other Italian team for the Olympic qualification, and now they are again beating the young Italian team that could be the final move to qualify for Italy, for Elena and Bianca. If they are more than 18 points, then the medal race will not be enough for Benedetta and Alessandra to challenge the other Italian team, Luis.
Yeah, for me that I was working very close to them. I was coaching Elena, also Benny. For me it's very difficult to watch that one of them will be out of the game, but
it is what it is. It's life. It's only one team per country in the Olympics.
But that's the reality in many countries.
We have an update here for the men. Provisional results for race 11. We have the Spanish team winning race 11, Spain 44. Second place was Germany 11, Swiss 46. Third, but they were over the line. So it will be Greece 1 in third place, and Turkish 890 in fourth, GBR 4 fifth. To go a little bit further down, Portugal 21 were 15th in this race, and the Swedes, the leaders, were 11th in this race. I'm pretty sure the overall scores will be updated shortly. Our race office team working hard all the time, giving us almost live updates on the website.
So for tomorrow medal race,
I can see your
Sweden
necks.
will be the first, the Spanish will be the second, the Portugal will be the third, and the Russian will be the fourth, with 15 points of difference between the Portuguese and the Russians. So it will be a very open medal race for the bronze medal.
Now
Não, mas era no meio das portas.
It will be a very tight fight between second, third, and fourth, with the Spanish winning this race and the Portuguese finishing 15th. I can see your messages.
Yeah, to be honest, the Portuguese will keep the second place, but very close to the Spanish.
That's right.
And also close to the will be very open. The second, the third, and the fourth for tomorrow.
Well, I can see your messages asking for the mix, but you have to understand that the mixed teams are not yet an Olympic discipline. I ask for your patience. We are doing our best. We have to follow the races that have more in stake here, and that is the women. The men are finished with their race 11.
And now we saw on the downwind that Anna Mills took the right gate, the right hand side, and Elena the left hand side. But Anna Mills taking the right hand side of the gate, she just was more free, not in the middle of the other spinnakers. So see the choice was to be free hair, clear hair on the beginning of the second upwind. Very interesting choice.
This is the gate. The Spanish going around. The left hand mark looking downwind is the right hand mark on your screen. We can see the Greek 216 coming down here, going around the mark. I haven't seen the other Greek actually. I don't know what's going on between both Greek teams, but I believe Greece 7 looks like they should be ahead of Greece 216, and that means the Olympic qualification for Greece could be going to Ariane Paraskevi and Emilia Zufla. Also between the Italians, it looks like Elena and Bianca have done enough.
Now we have already the overall of the men fleet. We have before the medal race the Swedish with 46 points winning. Second place Portugal 57, third place Spain 64, and fourth place Russia 72. So
well, that
this
means
is
that the Portuguese actually, being 25 points ahead of the Russians, they guarantee at least the bronze medal in the World Championships. No, sorry, 15 points. 15 points, so it's not there yet, but 15 points is a big lead for a medal race. I remind you that it's double pointer for the medal race, so the first will get 2 points and the 10th will get 20, so there's 18 points in stake here for the medal race. Correct, Luis?
correct, Pedro. So we have a very, very, very beautiful medal race tomorrow with
And
the
also
Swedish,
looking at
Portuguese,
the-
Spanish, and Russians
And looking
fighting
at the
for the
Swedes,
medals.
looking at the Swedes, they have 18 points ahead of the Spanish. So for the Spanish to win this World Championship, they have to be first and see the Swedes last in the medal race, and then also expect the Portuguese
being
to be
behind them.
what, fourth or fifth or worse, right?
Right,
Something
Pedro.
like that. But I will leave you guys there with your pens and papers. Do your maths. Meanwhile, we'll keep watching this women's race. Number 11, Hannah and Eiley leading another race. If they manage to win this race, Luis, will be 3 back-to-back bullets. That is absolutely amazing.
Just a champion can do that. And Anna, it's a real champion.
Question mark is where are the other teams, the Spanish, the Dutch, and the Italians are going to finish in this race, and how will the standings be for tomorrow's medal race? And I believe it will be a very tight medal race. But with this momentum that the British team have,
You saw how patient was Anna on this before
everything can
tacking.
happen.
She was waiting the bow to see the bow of the Slovenian team to go down. That was a very good sign that she could also tack. When you're attacking, you are not only the shifts that you are catching, but also the shifts of the others. And
That's
when
right.
she saw that the Slovenian was going down with the bow, she took the opportunity. Not because there was a big shift for her, but because it was a bad shift for the Slovenian. Then, when she
That's right.
wait for the right moment to tack, and now she's just taking the control of the Slovenian and the control of the second upwind. Look, the position, perfect control of all the boats. Impossible to lose the advantage.
Luis,
And
I
not
have here-
losing the advantage must be very clear for you, your position on the fleet, your position on the field.
I have here Sofia Becatoro sending me a message here, but sometimes I do miss the spellings. Of course, I know Millie for so many years. It's Sulfa, not Sufla. Thank you, Sofia. Sofia Becatoro making some comments. The gold medalist from 2004, she was sailing with Emilia Tulfa for the 2004
I
Olympic
must say,
Games.
Sophia, if you are watching us, I miss to dance with you. And
You-
I'm missing to see your smile, my good friend.
Sophia always with a good smile, wasn't she?
Amazing girl.
Yes.
Beautiful
in the good
and
mood.
beautiful sailor. Now we can see Benny.
Yes, and also the other Italian team further away from the camera. It's a big separation there. If there are more than 5 boats between these two Italian teams, the slot for Italy will be for Elena and Bianca.
Elena, Pedro. Elena.
Elena. You see, Sophia, it's not only you giving me a hard time on my spelling. There's so many names here, hard names for me to spell. And the wind has dropped a little bit, Luisa. And when this happens, for sure there's another puff coming somewhere. They have to stay sharp. They have to see where that next puff is coming. Also, from which direction, if it's further left or
Look
right.
how Veronica is working so hard. The Slovenian crew.
I remind you that the Oscar flag is still up. So they are allowed to do a lot of pumping. Very light conditions at the moment. We can see the mixed teams going downwind. If I have some information on the mark roundings, I will forward that to you. For the moment, we are following the women's fleet. There's a fight there between USA 1810 and 1824. It looks like USA 1810 overtook the other Americans, Nicole and Lara. This is the fight for the Olympic slot for USA. They were 10 points separated by 10 points before this race, and it's looking like Nicole and Lara will increase that lead. Very light at the moment. And the Slovenians are keeping Hannah on and Ailey on their toes, huh?
They are not making the life easy to Anna.
No, they look quite fast. They look quite confident. You can see Ailey there, looking back, making sure that the Slovenians are not getting a little left-hand shift there to be higher than them.
It's so difficult to have the control of one boat, but not losing the control of the fleet.
It looks like the British team are a little bit higher now, maybe a little bit further left. The Slovenians are going a little bit lower.
Yes, the strategy of Anna was to point on that moment. She was pointing hard
We
to
can
have
see
the control.
here, Luis, the difference of angles here. The boats on the right-hand side of your screen with a much further right wind than the boats on the left-hand side. See the Spanish, I believe it's the Spanish, I can't
Without
really
wind.
tell.
Look, Spain 18. Sylvia Mas without wind.
Look, and here we can see also on our screen Greece 7, and on the right-hand side the other Greek teams. So Greece 7, keeping an eye on the other Greeks, making sure they stay in front of them. That will give them the passport for the Olympics for Greece, representing Greece.
But the fight is between Sylvia Mas and Aphrodite. Look,
Also,
the cross.
that is also a big fight
The
there.
big fight for the medals.
So Aphrodite crossing in front of the Spanish at the moment. Let's see if they're gonna go for attack, if they're gonna give some bad air to the Spanish. It looks a little bit lefty. We are back into the head of the fleet. Here the fight for the
First place.
place in race 11. I have here an update from our race management team, the mark rounding for the mixed teams, and it was Israel 15 leading the race, from Italy 54 in second. Third place was Israel 311, fourth was France 7, and fifth was GBR 875. And we are now approaching the top mark for the women. It's Anna Mills and Hailey still leading the race, Luis. Followed by the Slovenians. Not that far behind, huh?
Very experienced team.
But I believe that the British have been doing a great job downwind. They will be very, very hard to overtake. We go back to a little bit further back in the fleet. We see the Greeks there. And
The Greeks don't do malakias, huh? Ela. Ela Maria. Ela Mili.
I gave you the information from the mixed teams, the mark rounding. Now we are following the top mark rounding for the women. Italy 6 here, almost guarantee their Olympic qualification for Tokyo, as they are finishing again in front of the other Italian team. There's so many things in stake here. It's so hard to keep the information on everything that is going on right now on the race course. We see the Dutch fighting the Spanish, the Greek fighting the Greek, the Italian fighting the Italian, the British trying to get back into this championship fight for the gold.
A lot of fights at the same
There's a
time.
lot going on in this race. It's nail-biting finish of the race 11.
Ooh.
Oh, a bad tack there from Germany 26. They almost touched the mark. they just managed.
Frederic.
We see here the French, Louise. Also a very experienced team, this French team.
Yeah.
Camille. Camille is a long, many years sailing the 470s.
Camille and Alois, they had a good start, but they were very inconsistent as well. They were 16th this morning. They are 5th overall at the moment. Big gap between these top two teams here and the rest of the pack. With these shifty conditions, we see the fleet a lot more spread out.
Spread out.
We're back in the front of the fleet.
Acaba é que me foge.
Here is the fight for the win for race 11. 470 World Championships 2021. It's all happening here. I believe tomorrow it will be a very tight race. I believe right now there are 4 teams still able to win the gold medal in these World Championships. Hannah making a huge comeback in their overall scoreboard with a 4 and 2 bullets, and now leading again race 11. An amazing effort in this final stage of this event. Also, Italy 6. Being, I believe they are coming 5th in this race. So if Anna and Eiley finish this race in the top of the fleet, there will be 80 points. Italians, if they finish 6, there will be 75 points, so 5 points separating these two teams. Now the question mark is, where are the Spanish and the Dutch? They were on 52 and 55.
Silvia Pedro was not in a very good position on the second upwind.
She wasn't, but with these shifty conditions, we never know.
We never know.
We never know. We need to find out where they are. We could see a fight between them and the Dutch further back in the fleet, but they cannot fight too much because the British team leading this race, and the Italians not that far behind the British. That will bring these two teams also back in the game, you know. So we had 2 teams already around that mark number 2. We see USA 1810, which is also a fight for the Olympic qualification between the American teams. We see 1824 further back. So Elena and Bianca 5th around the mark number 2. We have here the Americans, Carmen and Emma, going around the mark. I believe about 7th. We are having a few technical problems with the camera on mark number 2. So we are following. Here we are back to this fight. We can see about 11 boats went around this mark so far. We see the Spanish behind Germany 24 in the middle of your screen. Now we'll go back to the score here. The Spanish had a 15th as a discard, so probably they will be worse than that in this race. They will count this 50, this 15. There will be 67 points. If that's the case, they will be 13 points ahead of the British. Now the Dutch team also with a bad discard, the 22nd, they need a good result in this race. And it looks like they are even behind the Spanish. We see here the Spanish now coming down, trying to...
And the big fight is between the Spanish and the Dutch team. They are fighting between them.
But
they are not taking so much care about the race. They just want to be in front.
We can see Greece 216 here. I believe Greece 7 already gone through this mark. We will try to figure out all the positions here, but there's so much going on. I see the messages here, Germany 20 and Germany 69. Also, I missed that fight. I apologize for that. They were also only 3 points separated. It looks like the Slovenians are making a big effort here to try and get the British. Let them inside. If the Slovenians can go forward a little bit, they will be on starboard and inside rights for that gate, Luis.
This is very difficult to have. Anna is in a very difficult position because you have to keep the distance. Of course, they are.
It's a more fragile position to leeward.
Yes, it's difficult to keep the position, but if you are, you must be very, 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 very experienced to keep that not.
Well, but they can see more than we from here. They can see where the puff is. The pressure could be on the left-hand side of the course, looking upwind, and Anna's protecting that side.
And trying not to go down without speed. That's what Anna is not doing, that mistake. Anna wants to keep the speed of the boat, and just with the speed she can go down. To close the door to the Slovenian, to Tina. At this moment I can imagine Tomasz Ciopi nervous, watching Tina and Veronica. He has been working with them for the last 20 years.
Here another view. On the other side we see the Spanish here. Just trying to figure out how many boats ahead of the Spanish. But I believe they were outside the top 15. That means they will be counting a 15 and not this race. But they are ahead of the Dutch. Back to the front with Anna and Eili. Oscar flag is up, so they can stand up, they can rock the boat. Luis, they can synchronize their both bodies. We have another update here from the mixed teams. Top 3 remain the same: Israel 15, Italy 54, and Israel 311. But Italy 75 moving to 4th place, and GBR 889 moving to 5th place. The breeze picked up again a little bit. We see here the Germans, like, we acknowledge that there's also a fight between the Germans. We saw there German 69. But the other German nearby was Germany 26. I wonder where is Germany 20 compared to Germany 69. It's Louise Ranser and Anastasia Winkel looking to get the German slot for the Olympics. I believe the medal race tomorrow, we will have an update on the schedule this afternoon. It will be on the notice board of the regatta website. Here we go, the front of the fleet. British team fighting hard to stay ahead of the Slovenians. Well, that's all they can do at the moment. It's to win this race and wait for the unforced errors from the other teams. The Spanish and the Dutch fighting a long way back this fleet. And the Italians, they were coming down this run on 6th place. We are trying to show as much as we can here. We have our cameramans trying to get the fight for the win here. We're not that far off. We will see the other boats coming around this bottom gate as well. The Slovenians, they managed to get inside the British.
Very, very interesting.
Can they hold the position? Looks like
It looks like the British will
manage.
Will
it's
manage.
very hard to overtake in this reach, Luis. You need to be forward.
Annie's telling Tina to go down, or asking her to go down.
Yes, of course. She can only ask. This is the finish for race 11 on the women's fleet. And it's Great Britain again, 3 back-to-back wins. Race 9, race 10, and now race 11. What an effort from this British team. A little bit late, but it might not be enough. But tomorrow's another day. It's the medal race. Everything can happen.
He's never late to win a Mills.
She's
really amazing. Great race again.
That's it, and Slovenia 64, Tina and Veronica. They were 16th overall, finished 2nd in race 11.
Vai com elas. Fred, vai com elas.
This is the British team winning race number 11. We're going back to the finishing line. We will see here the top 5 finish. We have a little bit difficulties with the signal here, but we will be able to find out.
Very good result also for the Russian team that is fighting for the spot for the Olympic Games.
The Russians were 5th in this race. I couldn't find out. I believe it was Germany 26 4th and Germany 69 in 3rd.
And this is very important for the Russians because they are fighting with the Turkish team, and with this result they will get the big advantage, or at least they will. Let's see the result of the Turkish team.
So the French team finishing 6th. The wind is dropping a lot, and I believe it shifted to the left. This last leg, supposed to be a reach, looks like a downwind leg. Italy 74. We are facing a lot of issues here with the signal. I am afraid we will have to stop this broadcast. We can see just the Dutch team finishing ahead of the Spanish. It's a little bit messy finish here. It's hard to tell, but we will have to go now, and we will give you an update on the results soon on the website. Luis, it was a pleasure to have you here with us. It was great racing. You gave us a great feedback on the class, a lot of history. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure, Pedro. Thank you very much for the invitation. It was a pleasure to be with you, to
follow this
these great sailors, to remember our beautiful histories, and I wish you all the best for your life, for your sailing career, and for your family, Pedro.
Thank you so much. But Luis, I also want to congratulate you as a technical director of the Portuguese Federation, Sailing Federation, for this qualification for the Costa Brothers. We had the 49ers qualified already for the men, and now with this second discipline in the Olympics, it was very important for our sport in Portugal. Congratulations, a great job.
Thank you, Pedro. Our job in Federation is just to give the best opportunities to our sailors to make their dreams come true. That's what we do. They are the best. They achieve it. They deserve it.
Well, thank you all for watching. We will be back here tomorrow. We will give you an update on the schedule for tomorrow. You can follow it on our website. On the notice board there will be an announcement for the schedule. Tomorrow we will have the medal races for men, women and mixed, and also for the RSX European Championships. We are looking forward for that. There will be a big fight, and stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.